And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. This is your host, Chris. We got Jesse over here. What's up, dude?
Back again.
Back again.
Not fresh off another podcast.
I hope you guys enjoyed the last week's episode. We had the Exile Martyr on there. Great dudes. If you haven't, check out their EP, Novum Venum. I messed that up on the show, so you can get to see me in all my glory right there. And this episode is we have Pallbearer. We have the dudes from Pallbearer. We have Brett and Joe. Really awesome guys. Joe's the bassist, Brett's the guitarist and vocalist. Well, Joe does the backing vocals as well. And we got to talk about their brand new album, Forgotten Days, and it was really cool having them on. Definitely a different style of music than we've had. I mean, still metal, but I think we've had a little more aggressive music on the show, right?
Yeah. No, it was definitely interesting. It was a very old school style with a new school spin.
Yeah.
And then I appreciate it. I ran through their album the week before we did the interview, and it was pretty interesting. It gave me a lot of different feelings. Like I say in the interview, it gave me certain feelings about kind of doomy, apocalyptic, but then the vocals were not what I thought it was going to be. So it was a very nice surprise, and it all went really well. And so did the interview.
Yeah, and I just want to say right now that there is only one Devin, and it's Devin Townsend. So
I'm double down.
I'm double downing on that. So.
Why?
No, I was talking about this before with other people too. I'm like, when you hear Arnold, who do you think of? Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
When I hear Devin, I only think of Devin Townsend. So I'm doubling down on that. You'll see in the interview later on. You'll see that. And
that's
I'm
cool.
sorry, I'm a Devin fanboy. So Devin Townsend, cool. I know you're watching right now. You're welcome back on the show.
Well, that's cool. Except for what Devin do you think of when you're talking to a band with a member called Devin?
It still doesn't.
Bastard.
It still doesn't comprehend in here, dude.
Yeah, you do the 5-knuckle shuffle. I can't see you and all your embarrassment.
That was funny. Actually, I put a nice little stamp on myself. You'll see if you watch. If you keep watching, if you didn't tune out already, guys. But, we also have some upcoming stuff we just want to talk about as well. Next week, we'll drop a nice little Entheos episode. We got to talk to Cheney Crab. So that was really a lot of fun. And, Jesse, what else do we have coming?
Oh, we can talk about all that stuff?
I mean, just name drop that.
Yeah,
it's not coming in order, but
we just got done with an interview with Kevin Boutot. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, this time Boutot. You fuck up the names.
It's how you say it, Boutot.
Yeah, but the way you said it was so not confident.
Yeah, I'm not confident as a person. Kevin Boutot of the Acacia Strain, the drummer, had a fantastic conversation. We just got done with it, and that will be coming in the near future. And we got some lined up, so it should be super cool. We'll backlog all these and not do another podcast for 2 months, and then we'll just keep it. It was super fun, and I can't wait. And also, the Pallbearer one was fun. So get ready. Do we have to talk about anything else?
No, that's it.
Get ready, get set, get your popcorn, and just get ready for the greatest interview of your entire life.
All right, guys, here we go. And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. This is your host, Chris. We got my boy, Jesse. What's up, dude?
What up? How's it going?
And we have two special guests on today from Pallbearer. We have Joe and Brett. What's up, guys?
What's up? Hey, how's it going?
Go, pals.
So we also do this on podcast formats like Spotify, where it's only audio. So people get used to your voice and your name. Can you just say what you do in the band and, say your name? You can start. Or Brett.
Yeah, I'm Brett, and I sing and play guitar in Pallbearer.
Hey, and this is Joe, and I play bass and sometimes do some extra vocals. Usually not
the backing vocal guy.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining the show, guys. Really pumped to talk about you. I was actually just listening to the single you guys just put out, Forgotten Days, and it's a banger, I gotta say. Total throwback to that nice, thick, heavy tone. Usually now a lot of things are faster and heavy and stuff like that. A nice, slow, heavy doom riff.
Yeah, the slow build to the apocalypse. I like to think of it. It's just it hits them. The vocals kind of surprised me too, because I never listened to you guys until we got scheduled this interview. I went through a bunch of your guys' songs, and I started with the single, and I was like, man, all right, something's happening. I was like, let's see, and then it hit. I was like, oh, that's a nice mix too. I don't know, I never thought of it. It was it's like a way heavier Black Sabbath. Like I like that. It gets doomier and kind of like more interesting. You guys like it's pretty awesome. You don't really hear that much like very often, at least. Like Chris said, basically, it's like faster. You know, you have your start stops. You have a little electronics put in there.
The blast
Breakdowns
beats behind
yeah.
it.
Yeah, a windbreaker. I feel like more windbreakers. It's pretty awesome.
We're
Where'd you guys?
moving in like into a more like windbreaker metal sort of.
Yeah.
You're working up. You're working up to it. That's awesome. Yeah, where do you guys get your influences with that too? Like, well, hell, yeah, with that music.
Well, I mean, we have all influence from all kinds of places, but honestly, that song, that riff was kind of trying to do like that main riff was sort of a, you know, Morbid Angel, Nile sort of vibe, you know, that sort of just harmonic minor,
dude. It was
sound and stuff.
Dude, it gave me a nice uneasy feeling, which I love with that kind of music. Like, oh, here it comes. Like some evil's happened, dude. I really think perfect beginning to an apocalypse movie, like Contagion or something.
Yeah,
like to fit the theme of the COVID, just like
right in 2020.
Like all right, someone's coughing.
Well, also the video kind of tied in well with it. I would say the whole like I love the color scheme that you have going on in the video. Was that like is that something that related to the album? Because the art, kind of album art's kind of like that too, right?
Yeah. The guy who directed the video, Ben Meredith, he was really cool to work with. Like, obviously, was into experimenting, which we are too. And you know, he was trying to approach those like the super vivid space scenes with you know, kind of the approach. Have you ever seen the Tree of Life, that movie, or The Fountain? It's that Aronofsky movie.
Oh man, no, I haven't.
Good.
I'll check it out.
All the space stuff is done with like, you know, ink and water.
Oh,
so
awesome.
It gives this sense of space, you know, this massive area, but it's really just like a fish tank with the ink squirted in it. But it looks so cool, like, you know.
Was
it's
that
better than?
Sorry, continue.
I think it's cooler than, you know, using CGI or something like that. After Effects.
Is there going to be like a follow-up video for it, or no? Because it kind of seems like conceptual in a way.
Oh sure, yeah. It plays in with the concept of the song, but I mean, we're going to do more videos, but not based on that storyline, I guess.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like, in general, I would say that we are sort of a concept band, but not in the same way that a lot of people tend to concept albums. Like there is usually like overarching concepts that we approach, but not like a like linear story. So there will be probably some like going forward with the follow-up video. It's not going to be directly tied to the character that's in.
Yeah. No, I got you. Well, I was just because I was watching it again today, and I was trying to pick up some subtle cues you guys had going in it. So I guess he was going for more like a flashback kind of thing about his like former life, right?
Sort of, yeah. He's kind of like losing track of where in his life he is.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Time travel is always so messy.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't mess up your own rules.
Mm-hmm.
Every time travel movie.
Yeah.
So speaking about the record a little bit, how long did it take you to like record and write and, you know, do everything?
The writing process was pretty smooth this time. I felt like a lot of the songs came together pretty naturally. And we had an extremely productive like writing period. So we came up with tons and tons of material. And we kind of had to pick and choose what we wanted to use for the album. But recording was the least amount of time we've ever spent on a recording. It was like a little over 2 weeks, just slightly over 2 weeks. And the rest have taken around like 5 weeks or so. Our other two albums, our first album was made over the course of like a year, so it's not, I'm not really sure.
So why do you think it was that much quicker? Just because the songs just worked?
Probably to a degree, yeah. Like we were really well rehearsed and had the songs for the most part pretty like well arranged and figured out. But
it was kind of recorded differently. Like our last record, Heartless, like there are like the guitars are tracked like way differently on that record, and there's like more layers of them. Whereas on this record, we like with Randall Dunn, the producer, like we kind of like took a different approach where like Brett and Devin tracked simultaneously. Like, and I don't know, it's just like during the mix process, it was layered considerably differently than our past records.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how did that affect the sound and for you though? Did it make it like beefier or like darker? Like how did that?
I enjoyed it. Like it was almost like fucking Pacific Rim, that movie where like piloting the robots together. It felt kind of like that because like you know, in the past we've done like a bazillion guitar, like rhythm guitar layers. So, you know, I think on Foundations of Burden, our second album, there's at places there's like 12 layers of rhythm guitars going at once, which is absolutely excessive. At that point, you're just kind of like, you introduce all these like phasing issues and whatever. But we tried to do it differently this time, and so all the rhythm parts were recorded together. So if one of us messed up, we had to do it again. But in a way, it was a lot closer to how we practice or how we play live, which we listen to each other while we're playing, and we kind of play off the vibe of what each other is doing. And so you get a lot more of a like live feel. It sounds more like a band playing. And and Joe and Mark, our drummer, tracked bass and drums together as well. So the rhythm section is essentially live, and then we played rhythm guitar to the recordings of that. But all told, when that's put together, it's our most like live sounding record because it's basically live but in two pieces, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's also because you guys' music does sound like, I don't know if you guys use a metronome or not live, but it does sound like kind of music that you probably wouldn't. It sounds like you said you go a feel and you just kind of start ripping, whether it's a little slower or a little faster.
Yeah, there's a lot of like breathing to the music. Like, we actually used a click for parts of this album, which we'd never done before, but which not on every song, but we felt it was kind of necessary for a couple of songs. But that was an interesting experience because we're a very, very loose band. We discovered extremely loose.
That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. You know, some bands get really nervous in the studio when they have to record their album. They're like, this has to be perfect, and they get in like their own heads. Have you guys ever had that with a track where like you worked too much on it and it kind of got a little too like too much?
Depends on the definition of too much.
Well, I guess 12 layers of a guitar. It needs to be heavier. Get back in the booth.
Oh yeah, every song we've ever done. So no, I don't. We kind of went into this album with the idea of just like taking the opposite approach that we did. Basically, from our first album to our third album, each one increased in the complexity of the recording process. So, like, Heartless was a extremely stressful. I mean, not like we were arguing or anything, but just the actual process of recording was really stressful and difficult. And part of that came down to do with our self-imposed methodology to it. So we're like, well, let's just take a different, more simpler approach and try to make things sound like raw, you know. And I think there's a especially in metal, you can benefit a lot from just having something that's not perfect sounding, but sounds really alive. So much music's like, in metal too, like it's just so produced and sounds so like perfectly polished, but you lose that, like, I don't know, vitality.
I think it also adds like what we were saying before with the windbreaker metal.
Yeah, sure.
When I hear windbreaker metal, I think of that sound that you have, that really polished sound. I totally think of that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I always like, there's some of my favorite bands you could just like I always like Every Time I Die. It feels like they plug like not only their guitar into like the mix, they plug it like into their like soul. Like you feel it, even though it's like every band records the same. Technically, you all pull your programs in, you plug in your stuff, you tune up, and then you guys start doing your own thing. But it's like it's, you know, like you said, in metal, some people sound like they put it on a track, it's perfect, and it hits in, and it sounds great, but sometimes it's like, yeah, you know, I could have probably programmed a lot of this, and then you go live, and you're like, oh, yeah, they can play. It's awesome, and it sounds epic live. But then, like, bands like you and, like, Every Time I Die, it's like, fuck yeah, dude. Some dude was not having a good day that day, or maybe he was having a fantastic day, and you kind of get it through it, even though you're just using your fingers and maybe it's like through your voice or drums. It's like, it's interesting how music does that, and not everyone can do that, even though everyone has feelings. It's weird. People like maybe like think too much and they just can't handle it, and then they just. But I appreciate what you guys do. You guys are crushing it.
Definitely.
That's what I got from your single too. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely, editing music can like take away the soul.
Yeah.
So there was like a lot less of that this time. We've basically like tried to capture the liveness.
You guys played at like St. Vitus last year, right? I think.
Or
is that a little bit longer?
A bit in the past, but not last year.
I've completely lost track of time now.
Right? Vitus would have been in 2018.
Yeah.
Oh wow, time does fly. Well, I was watching that performance a couple months ago God, it must have been like a year. Whenever I saw it on YouTube, whenever it dropped, I thought that performance was really well. Like when you have shows like that, does that kind of make you want to get back in the studio? Because I don't know, just watching that, I was like, I just want to play guitar now.
I personally love like the writing and recording aspect. That's my favorite part. Like I like playing shows too, but it's a lot more like work, you know. But writing's fun, you know, and watching. Having your songs come together in a studio environment is really gratifying. So yeah, I would spend time in the studio all the time if I had the option.
Wow, I feel like usually bands want to bypass the studio, you know, because the grueling process of it. That's a really unique take.
Well, it's fun because you get to you create the way we work on stuff is we really really hone in on songs. So by the time we get to the studio, we have them like really really well rehearsed ideally, and also kind of have a general idea of how we want to approach each song in recording. So by the time we get there, it's of course a rush against time to an extent because you only have so many days.
Yeah.
But you know, we try to basically fulfill a plan once we get in there and get the best versions of these songs that we can. But of course there's always unforeseen, maybe new ideas or hurdles you have to figure out in the studio, but it's a fun challenge. Say what?
What was that, Joe?
Something breaks in the studio and you have to kind of like revamp, like work around it. I feel like that's happened to something like every time we've been in the studio, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
This is not an option anymore. Plan B. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, that's also like. That's interesting, too, because I think a lot, like, well, you guys just come in, so now you get the most out of your time. So you're not, like, spending all your freaking money just to, like, write one song. It's like, no, we know we can play this. And, like, some bands go in there and they're like, yeah, we got an idea. And then they find out they can't play it. And then some of the studio times, like, them practicing to play it, where they're like, oh, this was a sick idea. We didn't actually run this through as many times as we thought, especially when they do it to a click. I've learned that because I started playing electric drums to a click, and I thought I was all right at drums. Apparently, now I can see the MIDI track, and I'm like, oh, my God. Look I'm in time, out of time. I'm ahead of it. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm so bad. It's like,
harder than it looks.
Oh, dude, it's awful. Also, it crushes your soul. I was like, I've gotten way better now after devastating my ego for about a month straight. But, yeah, it was not fun. There was no smiles for the month of May.
At least you got that room to fill in.
Yeah, well, that's not in time. I'm not recording that. I don't want to say it. But it's interesting. So did you usually record, even though you don't play live with it in your past records, did you usually record to like a metronome? Or is that something you implemented now in the new recordings?
It was just for a couple of songs, or I can't remember specifically which, but we used it in a couple of places on this album, but we had never done it in the past. We always just just do scratch tracks and then play to everybody does their parts to the drum tracks that we recorded.
Okay.
Yeah. We've never used a metronome until now, and it is a lot harder than I would.
Metronome makes me not want to play.
Yeah.
Whenever I try to practice a riff with it and I put it on, I'm just like, I don't want to play guitar anymore, and I'll literally just put it down and leave.
Well, it's
No
like that
patience.
thing. It's like you can't, like, you go to school, the teacher says something. It's like, teacher might be full of shit. But it's like the metronome's like a teacher, but it's never wrong ever. It's just like, no, you're wrong. It's like, no, I know all. You're out of time. It's like, you just walk away for an hour. You got to calm down.
Yeah, we definitely do that every once in a while. I'll just be like, how many times am I going to have to record this fucking solo?
Do you ever run into that instance where like the first take was the best take and you did like 20 takes after that?
Sometimes, but usually we quit whenever we get the best one. It'll like by the time, if we're having trouble with stuff, we typically pretty well know early on, and we have done in the past, not with this album, but like piece together, like if we have really extended solos or something, do 2 takes or whatever, and then just like take the first half of one and the second half of another, just because when you play like a minute or 2 minute long guitar solo that's like completely improvised, like part of one might be amazing and part of the other one might be amazing, but each
that's interesting.
Clubs in it or whatever.
I actually never thought of that.
Yeah, it works. And then you just learn the piece together solo to play it live.
That's awesome. That's pretty genius. I was like, I'm the idiot that just hits delete when it's not right. I told that to my brother, and he was like, "Yo, you could just like put it." No. 1 take through, and that's why I guess I was really awful. I was like,
I have principles.
Yeah.
Oh, doing it the right way. That's the way Randall was. If we recording this stuff, he would have zero patience for any bullshit like that. If you messed up, you had to do it again from the top. So
it feels good when you do it, but it's like at some point it's like, well, I'm like, it's free for me, but if you're spending money on a studio, I totally understand where it's like, fuck that. I'm not spending a couple $100 to like replay this 5 times when we have it in 2 takes.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah. We had like, I think, a few hours left before somebody else had to come in the next day. So we're like, either we get it now or we don't get it at all. So
there you go. It all worked out. I will say, though, it's interesting, too, about you guys utilizing the metronome in this album, or like on a few songs, or, whatever, is that you guys are like from what I've heard at least, medium tempo to like slower tempo, kind of like, you guys are like, you're grooving, which I feel like sometimes is harder to play to a metronome because there's a lot more space and you feel like you're locked in. But then that's when you're slightly behind, slightly ahead kind of shit sneaks up on you, where I feel like when you have a lot of notes, sure, when you mess up, the train goes off the tracks, but like it's easier to lock in. Did you guys notice that at all?
We actually would get off the metronome sometimes, and then just as long as you can find your way back, it doesn't really matter. Because that way you get the benefit of the sort of breathing element of everything.
Yeah.
But the metronome was pretty much just there in order to be able to, find our. It was more of just like a recording technique for a particular song that we were working on.
Okay, interesting. So even if you guys went off during the recording, it was just part of this that you took it and left the feeling in there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as we ended up back on the beat, it was okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the worst when you hear the speed up to catch up when you realize you're a little bit, it's like, just like, what the fuck was that? It's just like, no, I'm back in time, guys. Don't worry about that last measure. I'm back.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the song you had the most fun in the studio with?
Like now that I don't even remember.
Probably Caledonia, the last song, because we were throwing all kinds of. That one has a lot of like synths and has a really bizarre guitar solo from Devin. We really kind of pulled out all the stops for that one, so that was probably the most fun to record overall.
Wait, Devin Townsend's on it?
No.
Oh. I was like, what? Sorry, when I hear Devin, I just think of Devin Townsend. I just was like, what?
The most famous metal Devin, but
yeah, just huge blank right there. Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, the guitarist. My bad.
Look at the sheet, you fool.
Well, no, I was just actually writing about Devin Townsend. That's why too for Metal Insider. So when you said Devin, I was like, what? My bad.
Wait, so your new album, Empath. Wait a minute. All right, that's not right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
And
My apologies right there. Huge Devin fan right here. Usually I'm wearing his shirt. But anyway, what about for you, Joe? What was your favorite track on the record?
Oh man, I mean, I would probably just echo on Caledonia. I mean, it was. I mean, that we recorded that back in November, and it seems like a lifetime ago now.
Oof.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
everything
that
now.
song is definitely like probably like the more adventurous of the bunch on this record. So pretty much everything on it was like a little different than things that we've done previously. So
I think you guys did 8 tracks too, right?
yes.
Okay. Was that like, did you want to keep it shorter like that? Or is there like B-sides and stuff?
the most
Honestly,
we've ever had on a record before.
yeah, most songs, shortest. I mean, it's not the shortest album, but I mean, it's around 46 minutes or something like that, isn't it? 43, which is, in my opinion, like a good length for an album. Like a lot of even really solid albums. Once you get up like around the hour mark, often my attention span is being stretched.
Yeah, right.
Like for a metal album, like 40 to 40, maybe 50 minutes is like the Goldilocks zone or whatever. But yeah, I mean, our last album was like an hour, which that's what we had, but we were trying to keep this one, just fucking a hammer the entire time.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Well, it's also you guys seem to like sit at like a good 7. Like it seemed like from again songs I listened to, which is like the like 6 to like 8 minute long songs. Like it was just kind of sitting in there. So even 8 songs, like you said, it's like, yeah, these are long. It's like nice, and there's a lot of like meat to it too. So it's nice. It doesn't get boring. There's nothing's worse than when you're like in an 8 minute track and you're like, wait till you get to the good part. You're like,
Yeah.
no, wait a minute. It's just like it's supposed to be enjoyable. It's like, why are we working here?
Yeah. Like watching a TV show, it's like you just got to get through the first like 4 seasons, then it gets really good.
Dude,
never
when
gonna
that
do
character. Oh man. And then you become jaded at that point. If you get to the good part, it's like, how many times do I have to do this?
No, it's
Pallbearer.
to like not be just a super repetitive doom band. There's so many, and it works for some bands really well, but just like it should be interesting from beginning to the end. You shouldn't be like looking at your watch halfway through a song.
Yeah, it's also like that's why like those longer songs scare the shit out of me. I don't know why. It's like, dude, you have to be so mature, and you guys pull it off, and like band, like I'm big like, and even like different genres. I'm a big like Between the Bear and Me fan, and when I see like 12 minutes, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, and it just somehow stays interesting. I'm like, all right, man. And then if I made a 12-minute song, I'm like, it's probably gonna repeat about 75 times. It's gonna be about 50 choruses. It's gonna be. And the Dream Theater comes out. It's a different part every minute of it's like what? All right, cool. Let's see how it works.
Are you guys into prog at all?
Oh yeah.
What's like one of your favorites?
Probably my favorite all-time prog band is Camel. Camel, yeah. Like a Canterbury prog band from like the early 70s.
Oh, dude, I'm listening to them after.
King Crimson is also famous for us.
Yeah, I hear that one a lot. King Crimson. I also hear oh my god, why am I blanking on their name right now? All right, skip me.
Yeah, that's probably
right. Tag in
is probably our biggest overall kind of musical influence. Despite being a heavy band, most of our influences are, like 70s prog.
Well, I feel like those are the bands that get you to practice.
Yeah.
Like how many times I've seen like, especially like a band like Mastodon, they have like an older, like especially like later years, they like influence like this older prog into their music. And like every time I watch them, I'm just like, I'm an idiot. Why am I at this show when I should be playing my instrument right now? Just like, I'm like, oh my god, like it's always the prog guys. Like every time you see it, you're just like, oh, they're that good. All right, I'm fucking up somewhere. Let's get back home.
What inspired you to play your instrument? Joe, we can start with you.
I started playing bass when I was a teenager because my dad used to be a bass player, and I was just like, it seems pretty cool. I'll give it a try.
It's in the family roots.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I've just been doing it ever since.
That's cool too, because usually like kids, I feel like rebel, even if their dad or like mom are really good at something. It's like, no, why would I want to learn from you? It's like, I heard like Terry Bozzio's kid, great drummer. He's like never ask Terry Bozzio for tips. I'm like, you have like the best drummer in the house. He's like, he's at that tier where there's no one better than him. They're just all really good. It's like, ask him a question. He's like, no, I'll just go figure it. It actually worked out for him. But I'm like, were you like that? Did you like ever like, did you like go on your own journey, or did your dad like help you along the way with bass?
I don't remember him ever helping me with it at all. So.
Oh, there you go. So you just crush it on your own. So there is something weird about that. Like sons and daughters of like musicians just kind of like crush it on their own.
I knew that he didn't even own one at that point. I just knew that he used to play bass. Like,
okay.
So I was like, that seems cool. I like bands. Maybe I'll give it a shot myself. So I went to a music store, bought like a crappy PV bass.
PV, wow.
Started going to town on it.
The pieces are starting to come together.
Like for me, all I had in my house was a guitar. Like I had this really like beat up acoustic guitar that we got at a garage sale. My dad got, and he would do karaoke and pretend to play it. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll learn how to play that. And
Learn how to play air guitar.
Yeah. We actually had these little like blow up, like, you know, like a blow up balloon, like for like a beach volleyball or something. We had that for a guitar, and I used to play that when I was little, while my dad was doing the karaoke. It was really funny.
Crushing it. And he bought the package of Kiss air guitar strings.
Yeah, right.
Real thing. Real
Dude,
thing.
I couldn't
Genius.
believe that was real.
Genius
Did you guys see that?
Oh, yeah. Gene Simmons has no shame whatsoever.
Oh, dude, that blew my mind. When I was like, this is like one of those like joke things that people make on like a meme or whatever, and I was like, nope, it's real. It's like when Dio said he patented OJ.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's what Dio said, at least in the documentary, Headbanger's Journey, right? I believe, Jess.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, or he attempted to. I don't know if he did, but he attempted to.
Why?
Because everyone says OJ, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, so you could walk around, demand money when they're drinking like at breakfast. You just go to a diner and be like, "You said OJ, didn't you?" Yeah.
Pay me.
Sorry, you can give me some money. Like, what the fuck? Honestly, though, the air guitar strings blew my mind, but I kind of thought about it. Even if people know it's ridiculous, as a collector, it's like it's probably $4. You're like, well, why wouldn't I get it? And enough people do that. All of a sudden, you made like a couple $1,000s off a piece of plastic and a cardboard like top to it. You're like, oh, it's just like no
Kiss,
work.
A lot of Kiss fans treat Kiss like it's like collecting comic books or something. They just have all this merch and you want to get it all. Which is great for Kiss.
Yeah, it really works out. It's not many things people can do. It's like I put my face on a lunchbox. Why? I thought you'd want to buy it. No. Put another CD out. Okay. Never mind.
Didn't Gene Simmons or Kiss do something where they were going to give you like their vault songs or something, that songs they had in the vault?
That's what Gene Simmons did. You had to pay like $1,000.
Oh,
wait.
What was that, Joe?
I'm sure they weren't going to give them to you. You were going to have
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Before.
Nothing free from Kiss.
Well, for what did you give for donations? 55 versions of Love Gun.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Right.
Just the kids. What's a love gun? Don't worry about it. Just listen to it.
I'm still really curious to know if the like rock and roll tall tale is true about Gene Simmons like trying to buy some of Pentagram's songs when
Really? I didn't know that.
Early 70s, like when they were, I guess when Bobby Liebling was still like
halfway.
I wouldn't doubt it. Like the guy's just like, you just happen to be creative and be like, but usually you don't have like those two mixing, like a high level business dude and like a creative like person. It's like you have that mix. It's almost kind of like scary. You just be at a concert. That was a nice record. How much you want for it? It's like, I never got offered that, but think about it. Some guys are not doing so well. Just get your music catalog bought.
Yeah.
And also Michael Jackson owns like the Beatles whole catalog. So you never know. It's just weird. Shit works like that. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Dude, that was crazy.
Dude, I think McCartney managed to get it back eventually.
Yeah, which was, I just never understood, is like the biggest band almost ever. Like literally everyone talks about. It's like, how did like, I understand like record labels and something, but it's like, how did he end up like not in Paul McCartney's like not like a poor dude? I was blown away. Then like the hurdles he had to go through to get his music back. I was like,
McCartney, as big as he was, it's still just like not even close to Michael Jackson. He was like a god, you know.
Yeah, when it comes, especially, dude, I know it just blew my mind. Especially like I love music, but I'm just not in the industry at all. So just like yeah, this place is fucked up. Like, how did that happen? I was like, that's weird. It's like the King of Pop just owns the Beatles. It's like all right, weird.
I saw that Metallica was actually in the business of buying song catalogs too. Apparently, they're on this big business venture right now, and it was on Blabbermouth. I thought that was really interesting. I was like, wow, they're going the Michael Jackson route now.
Well, I mean, it makes sense if you got. I mean, it's kind of cutthroat, but if you've got the capital. Like, especially in today's day and age, like each play, even for Metallica, like they've gotten used to living a certain lifestyle, but music doesn't pay like it used to, probably even for Metallica. But they have the capital up front to buy all these artists' entire like catalog. So maybe combined, they still, you know, can live the same lifestyle that they're accustomed to. It's kind of fucked up, honestly. It's so hard to make like. It's hard. I mean, the whole situation is. It's like it's hard to. It's just hard to make a living as a musician. These guys are like multimillionaires, so they live in a completely different world than regular people, or regular musicians.
I think Kurt was talking about how he couldn't live. Like he couldn't pay off his house with his royalties anymore. I might be butchering that a little bit, but I remember that came out a couple years ago, and everyone, like the internet, just jumped on him, like woo-hoo. Like they were attacking him mad hard.
It's like, I don't understand. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to be critical about, whatever, people being out of touch or whatever. But I mean, I don't see how it's messed up that he could pay his house with his royalties. You know, he's in a huge band.
Yeah,
that's kind of a dream, you know. But I mean, I guess people are like, well, Metallica's way out of touch, and maybe they are, but like they did earn their position, I guess.
Well, I think it's also more, for some reason, and this is a constant subject, especially I bring up on the podcast, is that for some reason, no matter how much a lot of people love music, they don't like to support the music, and then they wonder why their favorite bands just go away. They're like, what? I didn't pay you $10 and you're gone? It's like, yeah, you do that for like 10 years. All of a sudden, you can't buy Cheerios anymore, and then you gotta stop. And it's like. So instead of like I feel like people like attack Metallica. It's like, oh, but you made too much money. It's like, yeah, why don't we bring the rest of our artists up to like closer to them, where it's like, yeah, kind of the biggest band in the world, especially in one genre, basically the biggest metal band ever. It's like, yeah, they kind of should be able to pay themselves off. Like, it's like, but yeah, let's bring everyone up. Like I kind of like, but people like, no, then I got to pay for stuff. No, fuck that.
Oh, I mean,
not buying a t-shirt.
Especially in metal, there's just, it's like the second you start making any money, it's like, oh, you sold out. It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want music? Make this music that you can listen to, or do you want them to not and go, work a regular job? Because there's pretty much two options. Like either you can pay for it and a person can live off their art, or if you don't pay for it, then they can't, and you won't have it anymore. It's just goofy. The way the world works.
It's especially for art or any kind of entertainment. It's weird. Well, actually, no, mostly music. Because again, people won't really complain about Brad Pitt making a lot of money, and they go to like watch his movies, and he should. He's really good. But then they wonder, it's like, why does he get paid so much? It's because you're buying the ticket, you own the DVD. It's like, just stop giving them money if you don't want them money, and then funnel it into stuff you like. Yeah. Like me, I got furloughed at the beginning of all this. And I wasted a lot of money I probably shouldn't have on merch because I love giving bands money. Because I'm just like, hey, they make stuff I like. I kind of want to hear more of this sometime down the road. I don't want them to be like, yeah, everyone just streamed it on YouTube. Thanks a lot, assholes. It's like, all right. And then,
literally puts food in the mouths of the bands that you like. It really is literally that.
Yeah, people don't see it like that for some weird reason. And then also, like you said, they think it's selling out. It's like, I got to feed my kids. Well, stop fucking and play more guitar. It's like, it's like, what? You shitting me?
How's quarantine been for you guys? Like this whole COVID situation, what have you guys been up to?
Still kind of figuring that part of it out. I mean, we we recently started a Patreon account that can kind of house some of our like extracurricular projects that don't have to do with touring, pretty much. So we've been doing started to do like riff playthrough tutorial stuff, and we're like working on some other like broader like music projects that are like different than our normal studio albums, and we have some other ideas in the works.
You guys make death metal tracks?
I mean, maybe.
Do you guys dabble in the death metal?
I mean, we play when we jam and stuff. We play like everything under the sun, but we've never made a death metal track.
I remember Suga did that. They did like that on their B-side rare tracks, that like extreme death metal one. That was really cool.
They also had a Paramore cover on that. It was crazy.
Really?
No kidding.
I was like, what are you talking about?
He's lying. Fake news. Fake news. Top right.
He almost got me there. I was like, they know who Paramore is?
Test all the Meshuggah fans out there. He's just screaming at the screen. That's not true. He's
sold out.
They would never. Paramore. Haley Williams doesn't gent. No, it's. I always wonder too. It's like, because a lot of people say like bands have an identity. It's like, do you guys feel like that if you do make a, I don't know what we keep talking about, like a dope death metal track? Is this like, it's just not our identity, we can't put it out? Or is it more like, because you know, some people feel like that. It's like, this doesn't fit our kind of package of what we see our band as. You guys put it like as a B-side or maybe release it on the side. Do you guys like see stuff like that, or do you ever have to put tracks to the side because of that?
In general, we have a pretty, like, it's, the borders are wide, but we have like a sort of vision for what the band can and can't do. Yeah. And we can't do a lot, but we can't do a few things too. Like, I don't think we're likely to put out a death metal album, but if we were going to do something like that, we just call it something else, like release it under a different name.
Oh, fair enough.
Or as a ringtone.
Or as a
second tier Patreon. You got a ringtone.
I feel like I'm like one of the only people that have like a song as their ringtone now. I feel like that's so dated. Every time I hear someone's phone ring, it's like an actual like like, you know, kind of like a jingle. I still have like Lamb of God coming through my phone when someone calls me.
Yeah, I just felt like an asshole in a movie theater once. Like, I had like, I think also Lamb of God, and I was just like, I just feel like a dick right now. Everyone's trying to watch a movie. I left it on the one time. I was like, yeah, that's not the ringtone you definitely don't want. Someone's phone going off in the movie. It's just the ruin fill, or just like the breakdown from Laid to Rest. Like, say who gives a fuck? Shut up. It's like, sorry guys. I was like, yeah, I'll just put the ring-a-ding-ding back on. I was like, whatever. I use it for my alarms.
Audience is the person who gives a fuck about your ringtone.
Yeah. Well, I will say, working in an office, when there was an electrician that came in and he had, I think, Dead Skin Mask as his ringtone. I'm not gonna lie, my ears perked pretty hard. I just went,
"Who's this
what?"
guy?
It's like, I just went. He's just like, "Who the fuck's that guy?" I'm like, "My man." It's like, just everyone, shh. We talk about it. It's an office. I'm like, okay, that's Dead Skin Mask. What is that? A virus? I don't know. It's a really good song.
I actually have text tones too, like little snippets and stuff. Like, you guys fans of Metalocalypse at all?
Oh yeah, the
So I have that for one group chat, and then for like all my default text, I have Dr. Roxo going like, "Let's do cocaine" every time. And one time I didn't mute it when I was on a work call or whatever, and everyone's like, "What?" And I was like, "Shit."
Find out who the weird ones are in the office.
Like, yeah. I was like, "What's this?"
My man. They just like, no. It's a joke.
That's great. Man. Well, let's break into another little segment I like to call the 3 random silly question segment. You guys ready to take part in this?
Always.
It's crazy random. Here we go.
Still waiting for someone to say no and just leave the call.
Yeah, right? Like,
no,
I don't do
interview
this.
Over. Out. Like, all right.
I actually had one person say yes, and then they really didn't want to do it, and you could tell on their face. And I was like, okay. But here we go. Best tour prank you guys witnessed or encountered?
Oh, man. There've been a few good ones.
I can think of one, but I don't know that it would really be considered a prank. It was more like revenge.
Do tell, do tell.
What are you talking about? The enslaved one or the KO dot one?
Wait, I don't know about the KO dot one. Maybe.
Well,
You guys
wasn't
share
really.
both now.
Thinking about
Yeah, I don't know if that should be.
but
I was just talking about the end of KO dot tour one that they and Basque did for us.
I was on a totally different tip there. I was like, wait, was there like a really insidious thing happening? No, that's
Some pretty funny ones. Our first like extended tour we ever did was with Enslaved, supporting Enslaved.
That's awesome.
And so on the last date, while we were at that point in time, like we just smoked weed like 24 hours a day. So we just smoked the entire time we were on the road. And so I guess they found that to be amusing. So like during the last song of our set on the last show, they came out like Grutla had made like a cartoonishly large like paper mache joint. It was like fucking 6 feet long. He was like smoking this enormous joint on stage, and they had like a paddle ball thing. They're like hitting me on the side of the head with the paddle ball while I was singing. So I guess they're making fun of us for being stoners, understandable. So during their set, like they were playing what was it, Immigrant Song? And so like we all kind of like rushed the stage, and Devin had this like leopard thong that he had on the road for some reason. So he walks out on stage. This is NYC. Where was it at? Do you remember?
Ballroom.
Yeah. So Devin walks out on stage wearing a leopard thong and cowboy boots and nothing else. And just walks over and like fucking moons the audience. So it was pretty disgusting. I feel like traumatized probably like 700 or 800 people.
Dude, jeez. That'd be awesome. That was just like a constant fight in one show. It was a storyline for the audience. It was just like just back and forth. Dude, that's gangster. Was that ever like – oh, sorry, you go?
The other thing that Brett was talking about was like a couple of years ago we did a tour with the bands Basque and KO Dot.
Nice.
And for that entire tour, and honestly, like just in general for like the last few years that we had been on the road, we had been collecting wrestling DVDs to watch. Like
in the van.
Like on the TV that we had in the van. And basically also like all we talked about to anybody.
A particular tour, we were obsessed. We had gotten a bunch of great like SmackDown collections, so we were just doing that 24 hours a day and just like wrestling each other and just being fucking jacked in general.
At the very last show, like we were also I'm not really sure why, but before we even went on stage, we just decided to all play shirtless that night.
Yeah.
High on fire style.
Yeah.
Apropos of nothing, like I guess the other two bands had been planning this prank on us for like the whole, at least like prior to something.
Weeks.
Yeah. So we had like a break between a couple songs, and they had talked to our sound engineer about playing the like Stone Cold Steve Austin theme, the Glass Smash, and like that happens, and then they all parade out. Like every member of the other bands like come out each dressed as a classic wrestler from
like the 90s, early 2000s.
That's awesome.
Who's Ric Flair?
There was no Ric Flair, but there was a Stone Cold, of course, who did all the announcing in the style of Stone Cold.
That's so good.
It was incredible. We were blown away. And it was like everyone was smashing beer, so we were just absolutely soaked from head to toe, just sticky with beer.
And they had gotten a like wrestling belt made that said Pallbearer on it, like presented.
Heavyweight champions. Hang on, I've got it somewhere.
I was going to ask if you still had that. That's awesome.
This is a dream.
Yeah.
Very, very dreamlike.
Are you still into like watching WWE now and the events?
I had been watching it quite a bit. up until like a few weeks into the pandemic, and then it felt really weird watching it with no audience.
That's what I heard. A lot of people have been going AEW.
They've started I think they've started having more people in the audience now.
It was like the crew. It was like
It's like the wrestlers in training or whatever, like the people who are like in their like development league. I think they're like using them to build.
Yeah, which was an interesting like choice because I was like, I agree with you. Our friend, made us watch it, and I was like a big wrestling fan from like 2006 to like 8, and then like I went and backtracked to like the older wrestling because like YouTube for some reason had every single match ever, and I was like, well, I don't mind if I do, and he just forced us to watch it because I haven't watched it, and dude, it was so weird just seeing it, especially because the normal camera angle shows so much of the audience. It was like,
Yeah.
all right. They learned, though. Apparently, a few weeks in, they started just centering it directly on the ring, and I was like, all right, it looks a little bit better, but it's like
It still sounds empty.
Exposed how crucial the audience is for it. It didn't feel, even though like everybody was still like getting like just as fired up, or like they were still like acting like everything.
Yeah.
Oh, like when they talk to the crowd that's not there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, my favorite, it was the best clip to come out of that was on a break. Someone, I forgot why. Oh, I guess if you watched it on WWE Network, maybe, it showed that when they went to break, usually they got to do those pause positions when they wait for the commercial to be up. And because no one was there, they just, like, started, like, clapping. They're just, like walking around the ring like nothing's happening. And they're like, we're going back on live. Just start fighting again. I'm like, what the fuck? That's kind of awesome.
So weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Wrestling is definitely something. There's like UFC, I'm kind of happy there's no crowd. Wrestling, I'm very much like, yeah, there's kind of has to be a crowd sometimes.
It's the whole point, really. I mean, it's getting the crowd like fired up is like a big part of what makes like wrestling entertaining. It's the huge like over the top personalities and stuff.
Oh yeah, well, like The Rock and the millions and millions, it's just like everyone's like, what? That's awesome! Like,
yeah.
There's actually a millions of people.
Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh man, of all time.
This is cemented too. You can't change it once you say it. Put the pressure on.
Devin is our true like wrestling archivist. But
Gonna be
more
such
of a casual fan.
But I mean, it's hard to go wrong with the Macho Man. He gets so out there. Like, I think that like my favorite matches, like the classic stuff that I've seen, involved him in some way.
Dude, I forgot. Dude, I will say, you gotta check out what's his name, Jake the Snakes Roberts, about the story about when he had to get bit by the snake and like how they got about basically sicking the snake on Macho Man Randy Savage.
He did a like stand up basically type thing here in Little Rock like some time ago, and Devin and I went and saw it. There's some like truly sordid tales that he shared.
He gets really dark. Like it's pretty funny. He's just like, that's the last time my father touched me. It's like, all right. It's like, are we supposed to laugh yet? Or it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
therapy.
Like the darkest humor. Devin's girlfriend had come with us, and she left within the first 10 minutes.
Wow.
Understandably.
Yeah, it gets pretty heavy. If you're not prepared for it, luckily I heard him on a podcast, and I went to a comedy festival, and he was there, and I was just like, oh, I'm ready. I know.
Yeah.
I know it's coming. It's like, if you're just there for fart jokes, it's like, yeah, no. It's like I was doing coke off of a stripper's bum, and I realized really my childhood was it just always comes back to his childhood. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. And then he had a story, though, where he sicked it. He's like, listen here, Jake, I don't want that snake biting me, man. He's just like freaking out. And he basically just sicked it on him. It's just like, oh, brother, it's on my forehead. It's not letting go. It's just like,
yeah, he and Macho Man like hated each other.
Yeah, I think for that reason. He's sick of fucking snake.
Yeah, I guess. Bite you with the fucking anaconda or like python or whatever.
Dude, wrestling's awesome, but fuck being a wrestler back then. If you just had to, like, you had to sell for Jake. He's like, yeah, he's going to come in probably kind of high, and he's going to stick a fucking python on you. It doesn't have poison, though. It doesn't have poison. It's just going to hurt.
This.
So messed up.
All right. Question number 2. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Musician.
Shit.
Next question.
Same for you, Joe?
I worked a job that was even worse than being a musician one time. Yeah. I did a job where I had to go into a factory and vacuum like metal shavings off of these it was like a wire extrusion factory.
Oh, jeez.
And basically
fuck.
sets of machines, and they would just like alternate which ones extruded the wire, and then the others had to be cleaned, and it was like 110 degrees in the factory pretty much. And I had to wear like full like COVID outfit pretty much, like like mask and all this shit, and just had to vacuum the machines for like 8 hours. And I like
Damn.
had like heat stroke one day. I like had to go home and like lay with like
Jeez, bro.
it's
Wow.
It sounds
How much
like
did you have
you
to
mess
do
up
that?
with the. Oh yeah. How much did you get paid to do it?
it was like minimum wage.
Oh, God.
It
And how
sounds
long
like-
did you have that for?
It wasn't for very long. I think I worked there for like
Okay, good. So actually, yeah, I was there 5 years doing it.
Just coughed up metal shavings.
it was like in between. It was like over the summer during when I was in college. So I was just like, I just need money. I'll just
Okay.
like job that I can get and
Dude.
living on somebody's couch or something like that. But yeah, I was like, nah, gotta pick something else.
Oh, man. It sounds like a mistake could easily be made with that. You just said vacuuming it, right? Like, I feel like, did you ever have a thing where you just got wrecked with a bunch of metal shavings? Like,
Luckily, no kind of like accident happened or anything. It was like a real deal, like huge, like shop vac kind of thing. And I
okay.
was completely ensconced in like protective gear, which was really hot. But
Yeah.
you know,
What was it called, Joe? What was the place? What was the factory? I think I used to have to deliver stuff there.
I honestly don't even remember, but it was in Conway, like on the like southeastern edge of Conway. When you
Yeah, I know what you're talking. They had the huge metal spools and stuff.
yeah, you would know the place.
Mm. It was weird inside there.
It's terrifying, dare I say.
Yes. It is. There's fucking like 3 or 4 story high like stacks of these enormous like metal spools. It's like really weird. Terrifying.
Yeah, it was like the wires that they use to like secure like light poles and stuff. The huge,
Okay.
not like wires, like something that you're like connecting up like a DVD player or something. It was like huge, like
I gotcha.
Just
wrought iron.
5 stories of USB cables. Terrifying.
And you have to untangle it every day.
Yeah, they're all tangled too. They're not even wound up properly.
Worst job ever.
Yeah. Honestly, that would be a shitty job. You are in this room for 8 hours. All these wires are tangled, and they'll be tangled tomorrow. Now untangle them.
Lights.
That's what I do for fun.
Well, it hurts my feelings, dude. I had a friend who he was like big gamer, and he had a drawer filled with controllers, and it just looked like they're all like trying to mate to make the ultimate controller. And I was just like, why are they all tangled? I was just like, just wrap them up. It's so easy. They're like, oh, do you want this controller? And then a sea of wires come out of the box. It's like, dude. And I used to clean it up like an asshole. It's like, this is not my house. Why am I doing?
And then we just get messy again.
Yeah.
Just those little Velcro tie things will change your life if you got a bunch of cable.
Oh yeah, dude. I went the rubber band route, but then I started building
They
my own
melt.
computers and stuff. And those Velcro straps, you're absolutely right. I was like, why didn't I think of this earlier? They're literally like for $5, like like staples. Like, fuck.
The life changer.
Oh man.
All right. Question number 3. What's something that your bandmates might rip on you for?
Everything. we usually don't really rip on each other that much, surprisingly.
Farting in the van.
Yeah, but ripping on each other and every sense of the word.
Figured
We actually fart on each other. We don't make fun of each other.
You don't fuck around.
I feel like it's been very close to like coming to blows over the farting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
this
in a
is
van
Jess's
especially.
territory.
No, wait. quick.
I thought I was gonna have to commit a murder. I'm not gonna who did it, but I was sitting in the back of the van, and I was extremely, extremely hungover. And we had a day-long drive, and someone who shall not be named had seafood for breakfast. And they were equally hungover as me, and also sitting in the bench right in front of me with the air conditioner blasting. So I was just like huffing the worst fucking farts all day. So every time I'd start to go to sleep, it would be like, and I'd like wake up, nearly fucking puke. I was like, after a few hours of this, I was literally enraged. I was like fucking out of my mind. I was so mad.
You're looking guilty.
Farting!
No, literally.
Dude, that's the thing about fart. Everyone's like, ooh, farts are fucking hilarious. Like, yeah, but they also get really annoying really quick. You're in the wrong mood. A fart goes from a great time to making the night to, I might have to fucking spin kick you. Like, this is awful.
Shawn Michaels.
Hours of them just straight in my fucking mouth while I'm trying to sleep. It was hell. Living hell.
Oh my God.
Food like wasn't quite so fresh anymore.
That was not fresh at all.
Well, we had a friend who did something similar. We actually kicked him out of the basement. We were like hanging out watching TV, and I guess he decided to have like a stomach moment where his stomach just gave out. And yeah, we're all stronger and older than him, and we told him to leave. We were like, you can hang out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have you ever went on like a subway and like a homeless guy was there and you just shit all over the subway? Have you ever witnessed that before? Because that's kind of how my basement was turning out to be.
Yeah, he's basically homeless level smell. That fucking guy. Yeah, no. Also, fuck that noise. Oh my God.
That's how tour is. Everyone smells homeless.
Yeah, everyone gets beanies and then just like don't show their hair. I've seen that. Like, how many times I'm like, dude, why are you always wearing the hat? And they just come out, it's just their hair is just like sticking out. It's like, yeah, that's why. I understand it. The beginning of the pandemic, I usually always have long hair and a beard. I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna do something I've never done before. I'm gonna shave everything. I just shaved my head completely. Let me tell you, I didn't know I could look uglier. I found out the hard way.
Bad.
But I will say, now that I'm growing my hair out, I'm getting to that awkward stage again. You know, when you start growing your hair, you just look awful until you either grow it long or you shave it down. And I get wearing a hat.
Yeah. I did that once at the very beginning of tour. I had like a horrible haircut, so I just ended up shaving my hair and my beard, and I looked like a fucking baby. It was fucked up.
Imagine how many years a beard can add to you or take away.
A lot.
Yeah, I learned that everyone called me Bobby Hill. It was pretty awful for a little while. So, hello there, Bobby. It's just like, shut up. This was a mistake. I went from like death metal guitarist because I shaved my head first and kept the big beard to immediately, like you said, child. Like I just freshly came out the womb for some reason at 5'10". Like I'm just like, I'm here. Teach me now.
Holy
about the world.
Well, that was the random silly question segment. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah.
There we go.
I hated it.
Reliving traumatic memories.
Isn't it hilarious? Our pain.
Seafood.
Yeah.
Ask your next question, sir.
All right. So what does Pallbearer have planned for its fans or just upcoming events? Do you guys have any like Zoom live playing shows or anything like that? Live streaming events? Anything planned?
We had talked about it, but Joe lives in Brooklyn and the rest of us live in Arkansas. So it'd be kind of, I don't know. We might do it eventually, but it seems pretty sus to like travel, right now.
Get a cardboard cutout.
Yeah. Play to the track. Well, you'd have to be able to play to a metronome in order to do that. But we're I don't know, man. We want to play, but obviously that's not going to be happening anytime soon. I'm not going to be jumping onto a festival with like Smash Mouth and whoever else is doing
Trapped.
Yeah, Trapped. So
Cherry.
We're trying to basically, we're doing the normal promo cycle other than, touring, the main part of it for our album. going to be releasing videos and singles and stuff. And then we're also just going to be trying to basically brainstorm and come up with as much cool content as we can for Patreon, and hopefully, lure some more people onto that, because, it is a good platform to basically explore different avenues, like creative avenues, and we have in our kind of like, traditional band setup where you record an album or an EP, you release it, you tour, rinse, repeat. With this, since we have clearly like nothing but time on our hands, we're trying to think about like new ways of exploring. I mean, like say, when we jam, we come up with so many different types of music. So if we were to release a death metal song or something, like you were saying, it would be probably through Patreon, just because why not? If people are interested to hear what Pallbearer doing a death metal song or whatever would sound like,
I would buy that.
Yeah. Maybe we'll.
Is Patreon the one where you can get people to I saw Max Cavalera sing someone a birthday song, or is that something else?
Cameo.
Yeah.
Patreon is
Cameo. Okay, sorry, my bad.
where you pay X amount of money, and it's like tiered. So like it's basically like Hulu. Like you can pay for like the bottom one and get commercials, and then as you go up, you get like the better stuff. But we're trying to keep it where the bottom tier, you still get like cool stuff anyway. But like if for the higher tiers, you get like access to, I don't know, different stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe like limited merch and, various content and stuff where you get content ahead of time that we release widely and everything. It's pretty interesting. Like YouTubers and stuff like that use it a lot. It's really popular amongst like online people, people who basically make their money via the internet. So, but it's still kind of unexplored territory for like bands as far as I'm aware. I know like the dude from like fucking Winter Sun or whatever got a bunch of shit for his where he's just trying to grift people out of more money again, while trying to show people how to make like a grilled cheese sandwich for like $20 a month or something. Seriously. But we're trying to make it, worth the money. So it's like, well, shit, if we can't tour, we got to be doing something.
Are you gonna have the Hail Mary tier where it's like $1,000? You're just like, you're a really cool person. I've seen that so many times where it's like $10,000 and we'll say you're sick and you'll get everything below. And it's just like
it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's just that one. You're just hoping for just one psychopath. I like you guys enough. Click. You just at least we get 1 month before he wises up.
Yeah, 1 month before he like tracks us down and murders us.
Where's the content? We said you're a really cool person. Did you get that text with the winky face saying thank you?
$1,000 Pallbearer air guitar strings.
Yeah. That'd be the worst. That'd be better if you bought the Kiss and then just put a sticker of you guys over. It's like, the fuck? Kiss Pallbearer teamed up? Sure.
A lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah. No. That might actually be the worst people to do it to. They'll track you down.
Yes, they will.
Talking about it is probably a bad idea.
It's like, dude, you're crazy, Joe. Joe, you're crazy. I just get yanked out of the call somehow. It's like, wait a minute. Isn't Chris the leader of this call? How did this happen? He's the host.
The door opens behind Joe, and it's
Gene.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's the demon.
Do you have plans on releasing another music video soon, or no, a new track or anything like that?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, we were just talking. That's in the works now. We actually had a phone meeting about that yesterday, so it'll be a little while. It's still got to be made, but I
want it now.
The ball's rolling. Yeah. I think we're gonna do another single before that song and video comes out. So we're gonna be like, gradually releasing stuff up until the album comes out, which is like October 23rd, I think. So there'll be a couple of singles before it comes out.
I like when bands release like 6 out of 8 tracks before the album comes out. I was like, okay, just put 2 more songs.
Last 2 songs are worth it.
It's gonna be sick.
Definitely.
I've been noticing that. Like, also, I feel like the cycle has gotten smaller because I remember I think it was when Slipknot released the record before this last one, and I was just like, they're like, Slipknot record next month. It's like, what the fuck? I feel like I used to hear about like a half a year in like, be like, okay, and then you just wait around just with your nickels and your dimes, just waiting to give it to the band you want. You're like, now it's like, oh, here's a new album in like 2 weeks. Get ready. It's like
that makes some sense. Like in today's, I mean, like with the internet and Twitter and whatever else, like everybody finds out about, especially for big releases like Slipknot or something.
Yeah.
Or like a couple years ago or something, I think like Drake just like released an album out of nowhere. I mean, when you're on that scale, everybody knows about it all at once. So there's no real need to like actually promote something because it just promotes itself.
Yeah.
The band of our like, stature or less than stature, whatever, you have to still promote stuff to get the word out,
Yeah.
But for like big stuff like that, just why not just release it? Everybody's going to get it.
Well, you guys definitely have a huge following on metal blogs. Most metal like blogs or websites I go to, you guys are always talked about and highly acclaimed. So nothing to worry about there.
That's good. Those are the most devastatingly dangerous people online. Those are the people that hurt your feelings when they hate you. Give up. You don't even know how to tune a guitar. You're a hack. Boo. Just like leave me alone. Who are you people?
For sure. Metal blogs keep you humble.
Yeah. Fuck you, Dick Danger 69 with the metal horns at the end. I don't give a shit about you. And your attempt at playing the beginning of Painkiller poorly on that one YouTube before he gave up on music.
Well, guys, this was a blast. Thank you again for joining the show. Thank you so much. This was a great time.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for guys.
Dude, I'm looking forward to your guys' record. I'm definitely going to buy it. Not sucking up. I know it sounds like I'm sucking up to the bands when I say this. I really do appreciate, the kind of music you guys make, and just you guys are great dudes. I can't wait till people hear the music, dude.
And best place to buy it. Where's the best place to buy the record?
I would assume probably this like Nuclear Blast web store.
Okay.
There's probably a link from our website to get it as well, I would assume. I don't know. Normally we just sell it ourselves at shows, but that's not. I would say buy it from us when we come to your town, but who knows when that'll be. But yeah, I'd say go to the Nuclear web store.
All the info, like even for like different countries or continents, I guess. Like,
right.
I'll make sure to put in the description below.
Is that I see you guys do have a Bandcamp? Is that like all old stuff only? Is not going to be any of the new record?
It will be. It'll have everything on there.
All right, cool. Sweet. Yeah, so buy the record, guys. Do it. I'll come after you. I'm actually Dick Danger 69 with the metal horns. I'll come after all of you. Everyone's getting hit.
Forgotten Days comes out October 23rd, which is crazy, and Nuclear Blast Records. So thanks again, guys. This was awesome. A lot of fun.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Have a great day. Guys. Be safe, guys.
And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. This is your boy, Chris. And we got Jesse here.
Be back. How's it going?
Hope you guys enjoyed that nice, awesome interview with Pallbearer, Joe, and Brett. They are awesome. And that was a fun time. Definitely check out their single, Forgotten Days. The album comes out October 23rd. Yes. Nuclear Blast Records. Woo! Yeah, so that was fun. Haven't got to talk to those guys. I think I saw them live at least once or twice. If you guys haven't seen them live, I definitely, and obviously you can't now, check out their St. Vitus video. They played a show at St. Vitus, I think in 2018, they said, and it's up on YouTube, so definitely check it out. It's like, one, St. Vitus is an awesome venue, and you know that if you listen to our podcast, and two, they just have so much like energy in the crowd. It's just great. Just watch it. Just do it. Close the video right now and watch it.
Yeah. Shut the podcast off.
Shut it off.
So we're telling you, but also at the same time, tag 3 friends that would be very interested in this podcast. I'm kidding.
Yes, guys, like, subscribe, and tell your friends. And remember, if you want someone on the podcast, if you're like, dude, get more bands like Pallbearer, let me know in the comments.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome talking to those guys. I will say, like I said on the podcast, I'm very honest on this podcast. That's why that honesty is the best policy. And I told, I never actually like listened to these guys. So I decided like the week of, I'm going to listen to, when we found out about, I found out about the interview. I started
listening. You never listened to them once before that? Really?
No. Oh. And I will say the title track was the single was a pleasant surprise. I was very happy. Again, like I told him in there, it was kind of interesting, like a very perfect song for like the apocalypse. I feel it's a slow burn, and
The whole
I'm not
time
gonna lie.
lapse thing is very relatable too.
Yeah, and I wasn't ready for the vocals too. I thought it was an awesome. Like in my head, the vocals I thought was gonna come did not come. Instead, like I said, it was like it seemed like Black Sabbath kind of influenced type vocals. Way better though. Like I like Ozzy's a legend and all, but sometimes his voice kind of sucks. Like I don't care. I'm kidding.
Are you calling the Prince of Darkness? Did
Nah,
you say he sucks?
Actually, we'll cut that out. I
No,
don't think so.
this is a clip right now, so all the people hate you. It's going on Instagram,
No.
the Twitter, the social media.
It doesn't suck in the sense like, yeah, it's probably rough. I usually know
This is basically Insid reacts.
backtracking. Yeah, I'm backtracking. No, like I think comparatively, like I really like. I guess that's how good I'm saying Pallbearer is. Like comparatively, I like their vocals a
They're
lot
better
more.
than Prince of Darkness.
Yeah,
Ozzy
which is
Osbourne
fair. I
himself.
think honestly, I think if you put, let's be fair, if you put Pallbearer, if we transport Pallbearer back to when Black Sabbath first started, I'm gonna say I think Pallbearer might be burned because they might be like considered witches. They'd be like, "What is this? Synthesizers and shit, like metronomes, like digital metronomes?" Like, yeah, dude, they'd have cell phones. I'm telling, we bring everything back to them. Like they would just look like they're from the future. It'd be nuts. Yeah, and I'm actually preparing. Don't put my Twitter up this time for this episode.
Why?
Just the one ultimate Ozzy head just comes and doxes me. How dare you talk about our Lord?
I feel like you get more traction on Facebook with that.
Fuck that. I'm not taking a hit. I say you start going bald. You start getting freaking like we just said at the end of the podcast, the bloggers, they come right for you.
Yeah, right. They keep you
Yeah, I
humble.
guess if you really wanted to like attack it, who's like the big band that bloggers love besides Pallbearer? Is it Devin? I feel like that people.
Yeah, I guess.
Devin, Revocation.
I feel like Faith No More. Everyone loves Faith No More. They love
well, they're pretty
Mike
sick.
Patton
Actually, I really do kind of feel bad about saying that. Wow.
saying what?
I don't think Ozzy sucks. I know it sounds like a backtrack.
Wow, way to back. We're not putting this in the clip though. I'm just letting you know. The
Yeah.
clip is you just hating Ozzy.
That was an ADHD just spit out. Comparatively, I prefer Pallbearer. I know this actually no, fuck it. I sound like a gigantic pussy now. Fuck it. Ozzy sucks. So is Black Sabbath. I'm kidding. I love Black Sabbath.
Well, we know Jesse's a Dio kind of guy. We know he likes Dio Sabbath.
Well, Dio was a way better vocalist. Like Ozzy wasn't a technically good vocalist. It was completely energy. Yeah. If people were to come
I still
at me,
rather the Black Sabbath, like Ozzy
Yeah.
Black Sabbath, but Dio was a stronger singer.
yeah, I don't
He had
think
so much power in that, dude.
Well, yeah, he was like an operatic singer. Like it
Yeah.
worked.
It's
Yeah,
Rainbow in the Dark. He's like awesome.
Rainbow in the Dark. Yeah, it's yeah, it was just way more like emotion and kind of feelings, like almost kind of like a Rolling Stones kind of deal, where it's like not technically, yeah, he's not technically a great singer. It's more like almost like a punk attitude, where it's like, oh, dude, the like it is. It's like the energy. Like how many bands are like? It's not actually about how good you play. It's about the energy and like the kind of the oomph you put into the music and the art. And that's why digital, like we talked about in the podcast again, the digital recording, like why that kind of takes a hit sometimes, like especially guys who run off raw emotion and raw feelings, it doesn't translate because you have to go see that live. And sometimes the barrier to entry is, oh, I have to like your music to go see you live. And it's like, oh, well, you can't get the best part of me. Like, look at Dillinger. Like, luckily they were really good on record. They were doing that, but a huge selling point of them
With him climbing on shit.
is their complete and utter just destruction of their bodies and everything around them, and just this amazing energy that they would put out. And luckily, like I said, like every time I die, they were one of those bands I also always attribute. They like almost plug their soul into their music, which is awesome because I don't know.
That
It's
was a good
awesome.
analogy before.
Yeah, it's how I always feel about certain bands, and that's what I always feel bad. You know, we have certain friends where they're like, well, why you like this band, not this band? They like point their favorite band. I'm like, I don't know. Like I've seen them live and they were really good, but there's just certain bands that, you know, maybe they're not the biggest, maybe they don't get the limousines and the cocaine and the
Jess is a fan who of bands that either have really high pitched vocals or when they play a show they jump in bushes and stuff.
No, it's not.
That's Jesse's bands right there. If
That's not
if you want
true.
Jesse to be your biggest fan, jump in a bush at a show or get a high pitched singer.
Between the Barry to me.
Yeah, Tommy's kind of high.
He's a medium range singer.
Medium range.
Like not me. Yeah, he sticks it and then he kind of and also they stand besides Tommy, most of the guys in the band stand pretty still and they just shred. I love that shit. Animals as leaders, literally, they stand in their place.
Now you're an Animals fan.
What?
Throwing you under the bus.
No, it's I love all not to be that guy. I love
this
a
is
decent
breaking
amount of
news.
music.
Jesse likes Animals as leaders, guys.
I'm not defending myself. Honestly, I put myself in the back fleet ever since the freaking Ozzy comment. It's I'm going to be well, actually, luckily, if no one
I should use that clip as to preview the episode before it comes out.
Don't do that. I know where you live. I'll go burn your hard drive. I don't care if we have to re-record this podcast.
It's so awesome.
It's just something about that, man. I feel like some people also don't actually think about it. Not saying I'm a deep thinker. I just realize certain bands that I love, why I love them. And also, I realize there's only certain bands I punch the roof of my car, too.
Are you going to be doing that with your new ride?
Actually, there's no sunroof, so technically, yeah. One time I did punch my sunroof. I was like, oh, shit, it's glass. I was like, yeah. I was just
You don't have to worry about anything leaking now.
Thank God. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, no, because, it's just something about that. Wait, you never felt that with music? You never realized, thought about why you love, are you just, why you love one song over the other?
Nope.
End the podcast. Goddamn amateurs in here.
I don't know. I feel like I never really analyzed the music that much. It just has to I get a feeling out of it. Usually for me, it's just simple heavy riffs. Those always get me immediately. If a band has something like that, usually the tech deathy bands, there has to be something in it that draws me at first because a lot of them it just sounds the same.
Well, yeah. Well, tech bands kind of get digitized really hard because you have to play the things they're doing.
Yeah.
Or else it'll sound like mud.
And I feel, and don't hate me, guys, that some of those bands don't sound that great live. Some tech death bands don't sound that great. I'm not naming whoever.
Just
there's
take myself out of here. And I'm gone.
They sound better on record than to do live. Whereas a band, like you said, Every Time I Die is freaking awesome live.
Oh yeah, dude. We went to our pal's garage yesterday, and I talked him into playing Every Time I Die, Tid the Season, the first song, and they opened up with Floater.
You got to handle the radio?
No, but I nagged enough to get Tid the Season to put on, and man, I've had cravings for concerts almost this entire pandemic, and I will say the most I've ever had the craving was that. The second he opens to my bestest of friend, I'm just I'm fucking ready. Just mosh. Everybody in the room. Get up. Telling the neighbors, get over here. I don't even care about the pandemic anymore. Now it's time to circle pit. It's time to climb on top of each other and chant into the mic. Oh, that's the Floater is the classic song. That was the funniest part. He goes, everybody, stand the fuck up. And then the pal was like, aren't they already standing? And then you see 3 guys climbing on top of people to get to the mic to start screaming. I'm like, yeah, no, that's what he means. Get the fuck on top of each other and scream these last lyrics. I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't give a fuck, man. They should be making millions. I know they don't because it's filthy music for filthy people.
If Jesse likes you, you should be making millions.
Believe me, if I was a millionaire, I guess that's why I would never be a millionaire. 1, I don't have the talent, but 2, I would literally spend all my money just be that asshole giving crazy tips for no reason. Hey, tips for weed, man. $200,000. Just there you go. All the weed. All of it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're my favorite, Every Time I Die would be gain a mill. I don't give a fuck.
ETID.
Yeah, dude. They deserve it. They're fucking too good. And that's why
I think?
What?
After the Burial.
Oh yeah, there'd be
I don't
another
know
mill.
my mic's kind of blocking it. There you go, After the Burial.
Well, yeah, that's all. I guess there's a, you know, when you listen to a Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast, maybe it's my fault, but you will get a lot of the same talking points in the sense that, one, support your artist. Two, there's too many good fucking music out there. Let's just say it. To the point where
right now there's too much shit music out there, Jesse.
I disagree entirely. I don't accept that point. No, someone actually did try to back up on me recently on that, and I was blown away. I was like,
well, a lot of people always say that you have to sift through the garbage to find that one gem.
yeah, sure. All
There's
right,
that
fucking,
argument all the time about bands.
yeah, and those people like live inside a cardboard box but try to eat caviar. Like they're just like, you know, they're whatever. They're like, I get it. You want your palate to be refined. That's cool. While I'm over here in Toonville finding all the different tunes I like, you can sit there and watch your one genre, or like Trevor said, name drop. You're waiting for the music just to fall on your lap. Because guess what? Whether it be in the past, now, or in the future, there's an infinite amount of music. At the highest level, the medium level, at the beginner level, in the garage bands. There's garage bands out there that are crushing it, and you don't even know about them. Like literally, you could, if you really want to find all the good music. That's what I mean. Like you could. It's impossible, dude. It actually scares me. Like I'm afraid to go to Bandcamp and just like, oh, let's just check out what this genre. Like, dude, I like a little bit of freaking hip hop. I still have not explored a lot of hip hop. Pop music I hear here and there, and some of it's good. I don't explore it. Jazz, R&B. Like, dude, when you start getting to other genres, God, but even in our little sect of metal, there's a billion subgenres. Like, how? You have bands like freaking Sun O and then Infant Annihilator technically under the same umbrella. The slowest and the fastest music possible. Literally, just in the same exact genre. And then you got all in between. It's amazing, dude. Now I sound like I'm preaching, but no, it's just fucking.
Insid preaches.
It's unreal, dude.
Insid preach.
No, music's amazing. And also now that I'm actually spent on money and I can't spend it on records anymore, I'm stuck to digital downloads. To digitally download the $5 thing. You know, I like my vinyl. Next couple, I had to buy digital copies. I'm happy about it. I know, I'm fucked. Also, I lost the receipt to one of the vinyls I bought, and they haven't sent me, like, you know, the trafficking thing. So I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, is it gonna get lost?
It's lost.
I was like, I don't have the.
When in doubt, think the worst.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit! I just kind of throw $30 into the digital atmosphere, and did it make it? I guess it wouldn't be the worst because if the band got it, but at the same time, like,
yeah, at least the band got the money. That's
I
what
kind of wanted that vinyl though. It was like pink with the support music. All right.
Support music. We're going to wrap up this podcast right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy the dudes from Pallbearer. Remember, Forgotten Days comes out October 23rd. It's awesome. Nuclear Blast release. Yeah, remember, subscribe, hit the bell, smash the like button.
Smash it. I don't want it there after you hit it.
And always recommend artists you want to hear on the show. Who do you think Jesse can make laugh?
Yeah. Can we find that guy? Can we find that guy or girl? Actually, anybody. Anybody? Can you like stump me and just make me look like a dick laughing into the like nothingness?
Like, you're never gonna make this guy laugh.
Yeah, it'd be a weird thing too. And it's like, yeah, we want a bad podcast where one guy tries to be funny and the other guy's not having anything about it. It's like, that sounds like downloads. That sounds like numbers.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and keep it real. Till next time, my friends.